I am Norberto D. Bana III. I teach professional and general education courses at Far Eastern University. We are here this afternoon with Chesa Caparas. Your talk on artificial intelligence and education is very timely because we live at a time when there is a lot of, we could say, suspicion about AI. So we need to know more about it and how we could navigate through its use. No? My first question would be, people have mentioned about the loss of human connection in the healthcare industry, for example. So why is this a cause for concern also, maybe for other professions?
Yes, that's a great question. And I think that for a generation at least, there has become to be an over-reliance on technology to facilitate human interactions. And I think that what happens is people forget, especially during COVID, people forget what it's like to just have a conversation with somebody, to feel yourself in the presence of somebody else. And I think with healthcare, again, like I said, a profession that really depends on the sense of care, it's important to know that there is a human who is there thinking about you and who understands your situation, not just a computer. And I think that even for other professions, customer service or a lot of other professions, we still want to feel like there's a human. Even my students, I asked them at the beginning of the term, I said, how do you feel about using ChatGPT to write an essay? And they say, oh, it's okay as long as you cite it properly. And then I say, how do you feel if ChatGPT grades your essay? And they said, no, I really want a person to read it. And I really want a human. I want to feel like somebody else has read it. And I say, well, then you should write your own essay also. But I think that we still crave that. We still crave the feeling understood by other people.
And we also have this erosion of trust among people across industries or across professions. How do we in the academe, for example, especially students and faculty, minimize or eradicate this erosion of trust?
Well, I think it's very important to have clear guidelines of what's expected. So having an AI policy is really important so that students know, okay, is this allowed? Am I able to use, Quillbot to edit my writing, even if I produce it, the original myself. So having a clear policy will help maintain trust, but also having assignments that aren't so generic that they're easily written by an AI. I think having assignments that students genuinely want to write, that students are excited about, will one, make them more invested in their education, and then also help build up that trust so that teachers know that they are reading genuine student work, and students know that they're producing something that they're proud of. If you don't care about an assignment, it's really easy to just go to the AI and say, like, can you write this essay for me? But if you really want to tell your story or say what you want to say, I feel like that is another way to rebuild trust in education itself.
There is widespread misinformation and disinformation nowadays. How should we navigate within this new and unprecedented reality?
Again, there's kind of two answers. There's the policy sort of aspect to it, where there's a lot of different conversations happening now around how do we watermark things that are generated by AI, like a deep fake, so that when you're watching something, okay, this is fake, right? So the more conversations that we can talk about how to regulate the use of AI, how to regulate deep fakes and these like reproductions, that's really important. And then the other part is also just, again, having a human connection. It's really hard because in my institution, we teach fully online, hybrid, and in-person courses. And my in-person courses, I feel like it's a lot easier to navigate because I know who the person is. I know their personality. Yeah. I know how they speak, kind of their style. And so when I read their essay, it's easier for me to tell, oh, this is really them. So any way that we can continue to build up our human relationships, that will help us know when something is fake,
Can you expound on the vulnerability of students who see AI as sentient?
I think it's not just students, but a lot of, I think what makes generative AI very unique as a new tool is it's very persuasive. It's very, it's sort of similar to the early chatbots that all they did was just kind of repeat back what you said, but people loved it. People would spend hours just talking to this bot because they felt like it was listening to them. They said, "Oh, you repeat everything I say. You listen to me better than my mom or my partner, listens to me," because they feel like it's hearing them because all it does is repeat. And so it's similar now with, I think, Snapchat had its My AI, and even people who are testing AI. There was one person, I believe he was at Google, that claimed that his AI was sentient because it just felt so convincing. And I think that honestly, part of it is post-pandemic, a lot of us probably felt very lonely or very isolated. And I know in different cultures can tend to be also more isolating or individualistic. And so there's a sense of, how do you connect with other people? And when you start to engage with a tool that mimics human connection, it can be very persuasive. It can be very convincing and addictive, because something that you were missing in your life feels like it's being replicated by this technology. I think very similar to how we're addicted to phones. It's very hard to break up with our phone because it gives us what we think we need in the moment. Maybe we're bored, so it's like, I'm just gonna look at my phone, or maybe I'm lonely, so I'm gonna look at my phone and start messaging people. So I feel like to understand why people might see AI as sentient, we have to understand why people crave connection, because I think that's really what they're looking for. Yeah.
Okay, AI is here to stay. We need to acknowledge that. So what should be our attitude toward it, and what skills do we need to work with it?
I love that started with AI is here to stay, because I think a lot of, especially my colleagues, are like, we need to ban it, let's get rid of it, like no one can use it. And that's really hard to do because it's embedded in everything. I mean, ChatGPT is not the only AI. If you use Waze, right, or Google Maps or Google Search or even Netflix to recommend things for you, that's all AI, so it's been here for a while. I think our attitude should be sort of critical curiosity, like kind of wondering what it can do, but preparing ourselves to not like it, or to understand the limitations of it. Like I said, it's very persuasive. It's very it can be kind of sexy. Oh, it's like it's going to plan this vacation for me. But playing with it with the intention to keep a distance from it, to say, okay, what's working, what's not working. Because once we stop asking critical questions of it, then we sort of let it convince us of whatever it wants us to, and not that it wants anything, because it's not sentient. But as long as we can maintain that critical distance from it, that's really important. And in terms of what skills will we need, I think, like I said, knowing how to ask better questions, because, the chatbots can't really ask interesting questions. They can just try to produce answers based on how they've been trained. What makes us as humans more sophisticated or unique is that we can ask questions. We can be curious about things, and I feel like that is a skill that we will develop. As like with other tools, when the calculator came, okay, so we didn't have to do certain equations anymore, but we could do more sophisticated math using it. I'm not a math person, English person, but still, they tell me that that's what happened. So similar with these new tools, instead of letting it take over what we do, let's let it be a foundation that we then build on. So it's not, stealing our jobs. It's giving us a platform to make our jobs more exciting, more sophisticated. We can do new things that we didn't think we could do before. So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chesa.
Thank you so
very
much.
much.